The global auto industry is holding its breath as the United States and Japan stand on the brink of a trade showdown. At the heart of the matter are President Trump's proposed auto tariffs, a move that could redefine the economic relationship between two of the world's largest economies. The language coming from the White House is clear. A realignment of global trade is underway, with a sharp focus on the automotive sector. President Trump has long argued that foreign auto imports, particularly from Japan, undermine American manufacturing and national security. These proposed tariffs are his administration's most direct challenge yet to the decades-old US-Japan trade framework, a relationship now facing its most significant test. For Japan, the stakes could not be higher. The auto industry is the lifeblood of its economy, a powerhouse of manufacturing and innovation. Major players like Toyota, Honda, and Nissan rely heavily on the U.S. market, which remains their most lucrative export destination. Any trade barrier is seen as a direct threat to their bottom line. The numbers are stark. Japan's auto exports to the U.S. generate billions in revenue, supporting jobs and fueling a vast ecosystem of suppliers. A substantial tariff could send shockwaves through the Japanese economy, threatening factory output, employment, and even GDP growth. But the impact wouldn't stop at Japan's shores. Japanese automakers are also major investors in the United States, operating plants that employ tens of thousands of American workers. A tariff could disrupt these facilities, raising production costs and jeopardizing U.S. jobs the policy aims to protect. And this isn't just about finished cars. The tariffs would apply to auto parts too, from engines to high-tech electronics. Given today's global supply chains, where parts cross borders multiple times, the effect could be a compounding rise in costs throughout the entire production process. This wouldn't be the first time the US and Japan clashed over cars. In the 1980s, tensions ran high over Japan's growing dominance in the auto sector. Those disputes were ultimately resolved through negotiation, but the current tone from Washington is more aggressive and the tools on the table more drastic. The Trump administration's America First doctrine sees the trade deficit with Japan, especially in cars, as unacceptable. To them, tariffs are leverage, a way to force a more balanced relationship and bring manufacturing jobs back to American soil. From Tokyo's perspective, the situation is precarious. Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba's government is trying to avoid a showdown, but is also under pressure not to bow to what many see as economic coercion. Walking this tightrope will be one of the most difficult foreign policy tests his administration has faced. A critical deadline looms: July 9, 2025. That's the date by which both sides are expected to reach a resolution. With so much at stake, from global market stability to strategic alliances, the pressure to avoid escalation is immense. Economists warn of major consequences if the tariffs go through. Car prices in the U.S. could spike, Japanese retaliation could hit American exports, and global trade confidence could take a serious hit. It's a dangerous economic game of chicken, each side hoping the other blinks first. Inside Japan, automakers are bracing for impact. They're evaluating how to absorb the potential costs, whether by shifting production, raising prices, or cutting margins. No option is without risk, and all threaten the global competitiveness of Japanese brands. The tariffs could also slow the rollout of green technology. Japan is a global leader in hybrids and electric vehicles. If these products become more expensive for American consumers, it could stall progress on environmental goals and delay the adoption of cleaner cars in the U.S. The debate in Washington is fierce. Supporters of the tariffs argue they're a necessary course correction, one that protects U.S. industry and brings jobs home. They say the playing field has been uneven for too long. Opponents, however, call the tariffs short-sighted. They argue that globalization has deeply integrated the auto sector, and protectionist measures will only backfire, hurting workers, raising costs, and triggering retaliation abroad. Then there's the geopolitical dimension. Japan is a key U.S. ally in Asia, vital to regional security. A serious trade dispute could undermine this partnership at a time when global tensions, especially in the Indo-Pacific, are rising. As the July 9th deadline approaches, the world waits. Will cooler heads prevail and forge a compromise? Or is this the beginning of a full-scale trade confrontation that could reshape global commerce for years to come? The road ahead is uncertain, and the stakes are incredibly high. The decisions made in the coming days will be felt in showrooms, on factory floors, and in the halls of power around the world.